Alright, this video might be a little bit longer than the others, but I think this is probably the most important one. And we're going to be talking about royalties for this next video of the series. And just a disclaimer, I have my notes because I think there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that just don't have 100% of the information, and I just want to make sure that I'm giving the proper information because this is like really important to know as an artist. And aside from copyrights, which I'm going to talk about that in another video. So it's always best for you as the artist, as the beat producer, to go ahead and look up this information yourself. Visit the companies I'm going to be mentioning, and they also have really great resources. That's kind of where I have these notes from. So with all that out the way, let's talk about music royalties. Because when I was first coming up as an artist, I did not understand what this was, and I thought like magic money just came from the sky. As an artist, I didn't really understand how a lot of this worked. When I first got started, I was, releasing music off SoundCloud and YouTube, and the way I made money was by burning CDs. So, and then later it turned into me putting my music on Bandcamp, selling, digital downloads, and then from there, then I moved to streaming and the world of royalties. So we're gonna be asking the questions and answering them kind of like how my mind worked and possibly how your mind works as an independent artist. So what are music royalties? Music royalties are payments made to rights holders such as songwriters, recording artists, and producers whenever their music is used, streamed, performed, or sold. These royalties compensate creators for the licensed use of their work. So now that you have that definition of what royalties are, we're going to be looking at the different types of royalties that you need to know. And there's several types of royalties: mechanical royalties, performance royalties, sync royalties, print music royalties, and master recording royalties. Alright, so when I learned about all this stuff, I was like, okay, how do I collect these royalties as an artist? So the first way that I learned was through a distributor. So a distributor is going to distribute your music to Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, all these different streaming platforms. And by using their platform, they will collect these streaming royalties on your behalf. The way I was introduced to it, I was signed up with CD Baby. So I use CD Baby, and I had used DistroKid in the past. I've used a few other ones, but that's just kind of something that you're gonna have to research and find out which distributor you want to use and what best fits your budget as an artist. So the second way is by getting signed up with a PRO. And a PRO is a performing rights organization. They collect and distribute performance royalties on behalf of the songwriters and publishers when their music is played publicly through the radio, through venues, through streaming. The most common ones you'll hear about is BMI and ASCAP. I was signed up on BMI when I first started, and I actually signed up wrong. I signed up with my artist name. I didn't know you were supposed to use like your legal name and everything, so I had to get re-signed up and redo that whole process. But distributor, getting signed up with a PRO, and then recently I learned about a company called Songtrust. When I first heard about Songtrust, I was like, okay, what is Songtrust, and do I need it if I have BMI? Like, what's the difference? So Songtrust is a music publishing administration platform that helps songwriters collect publishing royalties globally, including mechanical royalties that PROs do not collect. When I was putting a lot of music out there, I did have people internationally that was interacting with that music, and so I think that's kind of where I was like, considering Songtrust, and that's kind of just how I got that signed up. And for for BMI Songtrust, it's a one-time registration. So that's what I love about it. There's no like subscription stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then recently, after graduating college, I decided to kind of explore a little bit more of like the publishing side, because as an independent artist, I'm like, okay, I don't have like a publishing company. I'm self-publishing. So the question that I was asking was, do I need a publishing company as an independent artist? Technically, you do not need a publishing company, but like I said, it's best to kind of assess your situation and figure out what's best for you. Okay, so the last thing that I'm gonna talk about in this video, because I know it's going a little long, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand this. This is probably the most important video. So last thing, what are common misconceptions about the way royalties work for independent artists? So believing that distributors or PROs collect all the royalties, because they don't. Each of these companies collects certain types of royalties. You just want to make sure that you're registering your songs on these platforms. All right, this last one, underestimating the complexity. Royalties come from many sources, and missing registrations can mean lost income. And that's kind of like what I was talking about, the whole publishing. Do I need a publishing company and this and that? I was told by an A&R that it's best practice to just have it in place as an independent artist. So that's just what I did. But there's so many different resources, and I think the best resources for you to go to aside from YouTube for more legit like information is to go to BMI, go to ASCAP, go to the US copyright, type in, you know, royalties for artists. Like, just do your research and try to familiarize yourself with all these things, because this is important. This is something that you're gonna want to know on how to get paid for your work as a creative. So hopefully that's not too overwhelming, and leave a comment if this was helpful. This was probably the biggest thing for me to like get a grasp on as an independent artist, because sometimes you put out this music and you're not too sure exactly how the business works. And there's gonna be more videos about that, because I'm also diving more into music business. So hopefully this was helpful. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.